This is my presentation on sexual abuse and music therapy. First thing to know, what is sexual abuse? According to the American Professional Society on the Abuse of Children, also known as the APSAC, child sexual abuse involves any sexual activity with a child where consent is not or cannot be given. Sexual abuse is also forcing, coercing, and persuading any type of sexual act upon a victim or abuser. Sexual abuse also is exhibiting or showing sexual acts, voyeurism, or communication of sexual activity. So what does sexual abuse consist of? Sexual abuse can either be touching or non-touching abusive behaviors. Examples of touching abusive behaviors can be fondling a child's genitalia, their breasts, or their bottoms, any form of penetration by abuser or object used by an abuser, or even forcing a child to fondle with the abuser's genitalia, breast, or bottom. Examples of non-touching abusive behaviors would be exposing oneself to a child, viewing private moments of a child, such as when a child bathes or is undressing, taking or showing explicit photos and videos to a child, and even talking to a child in an explicit or inappropriate manner. So here's the facts. Between 28 to 33% of women and between 12% and 18% of men have been victims of child sexual abuse. The younger the child, the more likely the abuser is a relative. 50% of abusers are family members, and 23% of family abusers go for children between ages 12 and 17. Abusers will often groom their victims in order to gain the family and the victim's trust. Some of the grooming tendencies will be special attentions or gifts for the children. They go above and beyond the children's needs and wants to make them feel special, or even isolating the child from other children and even their own parents, if the abuser is a relative. So what are the risks? While all children are at risk of child abuse, there are certain things predators will look for. Predators will often go for children who are young in age, easily trusting children who are passive, lonely, or even the troubled child. But there are certain things that put children at higher risk. Children who come from broken homes, and even foster care. Children who come from homes of low socioeconomic statuses, and even children who are disabled, whether mentally, physically, or emotionally. Predators will often go for children of different races and ethnicities as well. Children who are African American are also more likely to be victimized over a child of any race. What are the short-term effects of sexual abuse? Re-experiencing, avoidance, development problems, behavioral issues, and even attachment problems. However, if these problems are treated soon and correctly, these short-term effects can end soon, and they won't be a long-term problem. What are long-term effects of sexual abuse? The list goes on. Depression, guilt, shame, denial, self-blame, eating disorders, somatic concerns, sexual problems, anxiety, dissociative problems, repression, and even future relationship problems. However, long-term doesn't mean forever, and with the proper help, these effects of sexual abuse can be managed or even reversed over time. So what do we look for? In younger children, they will often start to say new words for their private parts. They may not want to remove their clothes at appropriate times, such as bathing, changing, and even getting ready for bed. They may encourage sexual behaviors and games with other children that they are taught by their abusers. And sometimes they will even wet and soil their clothes, that is, apart from the occasional potty accident. In adolescence, the signs may be a little more clearer. There's a shift in their behavior. Whether it's substance abuse, they are cutting, their suicidal tendencies, or even running away from home. So what are the treatments? Music therapy, play therapy, and art therapy are all good treatments, and there are more to use, but these are the most recommended for children and adolescents. Music therapy is a use of music to address physical, emotional, mental, and cognitive needs. Play therapy can be a mixture of puppetry, theater, and any form of play that is used to promote cognitive development and social skills in children. Art therapy is a creative outlet that allows expression through mixed media, such as painting, dancing, sculpting, and any form of art. Music therapy as treatment. Music therapy is a clinical and evidence-based therapy that uses music intervention for therapeutic release and promotes individuals' growth. Music therapy touches the mind, the body, and the behaviors of a child. What does music therapy address? It addresses the emotional, physical, mental, and social needs of a child in order to promote their growth. Music therapy is also conducted by trained and certified therapists, so not just anyone can do it. So what are the benefits of music therapy? Music therapy reduces tension, decreases anxiety and depression, improves self-esteem and self-image, increases verbalization, strengthens interpersonal skills, increases group cohesiveness when therapy is done within groups, improves motivation, and is a safe and effective emotional release. Music therapy allows emotions to be examined and acknowledged, not just by the therapist itself, but also by the child who is growing and learning to cope with their emotions of their past abuse. So what are the drawbacks of music therapy? Music therapy is time-consuming. While your child goes in however many times a week to visit their therapist, that is not all that they need. The child also needs constant therapy and constant reassurance and encouragement when they're at home. And it's not a quick fix. The progress in music therapy also is inconsistent. Some days the child may be playing music and growing, and then some days they may be silent. And music therapy also is not cheap, and most insurance does not cover it. Because music therapy does take time, it can be discouraging for some parents if they're not seeing that progress right away, even if they are doing the extra step of making sure the homework is done at home. So what does music therapy look like? While each session is different depending on the child's case and the type of treatment they need and healing, the common layout is usually the use of instruments, singing, listening to music, songwriting, and even discussing lyrics of songs. What are common songs therapists should know? You Are My Sunshine, If You're Happy and You Know It, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, This Little Light of Mine, Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes, London Bridges, Twinkle Twinkle, Little Star, and Somewhere Over the Rainbow. While a lot of these songs are tailored towards younger children, they are commonly known, therefore they act as a building stone and a place where older children can start and learn to express themselves in different ways as well. So what does music therapy and sexual abuse have to do with each other? Music therapy allows the child to verbally and non-verbally express themselves and their emotions. Music therapy also provides a safe environment for children to express themselves and works with non-threatening mediums. Free clinical improvisation allows children to express themselves in ways that a therapist can examine the relationship between oneself and the client. The therapist will understand, reflect, and then interpret the child's music, their behaviors, and even what they say. Music therapy also helps by creating a sound for a child that can substitute for the words that they cannot say. The hope is that through music, children will be able to express themselves, and then leading to spoken word conversation about how they feel. It's been said that music therapy has been best used for sexual abuse cases because it is hard for victims to express how they feel because they often turn into this space of repressing and even denial of what happened, which causes them to shut down. Music therapy allows them to openly speak about what's happening, even if it's a nonverbal communication.